The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning and welcome, or good afternoon or good evening, depending what time zone you're in, and welcome to 20 Minutes with Tutor.com. My name is Cami Lum, and I've been with Tutor.com for about just over a year, and I'm a military spouse, and I was a former educator, and I have 3 kids who've been users of Tutor.com, and we really appreciate you being here. I'll introduce my colleague Maureen, or have her introduce herself in a minute, but I just want to go through a little bit of housekeeping. For those of you who are not as familiar with GoToWebinar, there is a dashboard on the right-hand side where you can communicate with us. If you have any questions or problems during the webinar, there is a chat feature where you can send a private message to myself or to Maureen or to the entire group. There's also a space where you can ask questions, and feel free to type in the chat or type in the questions as Maureen is presenting this morning, and we can answer those at the end of the webinar. If the questions don't get answered during the webinar, or I can reply to some of those, I'll be monitoring the chat during her presentation and answer the questions as they come up. And we also have some handouts. There's 5 PDF files that have been uploaded for you, and there are some things that you may appreciate or you may want to share and pass on to those others that are eligible to use Tutor.com military program. So, Maureen?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Maureen Haney. I've been with the Tutor.com military program for almost 8 years now. Also a military spouse and a military brat myself. And it's a pleasure to be with you all this morning, this afternoon, this evening, depending on where you are in the world. So I'm going to turn off my webcam now and go ahead and get started with the presentation. So first of all, for those of you that are not familiar, what is Tutor.com? Well, Tutor.com is funded by the Department of Defense and also Coast Guard Mutual Assistance. It provides completely no-cost online tutoring for folks in military families, as well as DoD civilians and Coast Guard civilians. We provide online, on-demand support, live tutors in over 120 academic subjects, all skill levels. The tutors are available around the clock, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can log in and get assistance with Tutor.com. Our classroom is safe and anonymous, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go further along in the presentation. So then the question is always, who is eligible to use Tutor.com? Well, if you serve in any capacity, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, or Coast Guard, you are eligible to use the service. The service members are eligible, your children in grades K-12 are eligible, college-age dependents are eligible, spouses are eligible, the whole family. If you are a student attending a DoD school, then you are eligible regardless of what your parent does, whether they are military or DoD or not. If you are enrolled in a DoD school, you can use Tutor.com. Or if you are a cadet in one of the service academies or an ROTC or NROTC cadet, you can also use Tutor.com. In addition, you can use Tutor.com if you are a wounded warrior, as can your family, as well as Gold Star families. So who are these tutors that we talk about? So we have almost 4,000 tutors working for Tutor.com now. They are all paid subject matter experts. They are all background checked. They go through a very rigorous onboarding process where they have to take tests and pass our screenings. We make sure that all of their credentials check out, and when it all comes down to it, about 1.5% of applicants actually make it through to become a tutor for us at Tutor.com. So we do take the safety and quality and all of that great stuff very seriously when it comes to our tutors. So we tutor in more than 120 subjects we have available now for our military community. They're not all listed here, but a good chunk of them is. So you can see that we have all of your core subjects like math and science, English, social studies, social sciences, etc. We also offer tutoring in some world languages, Spanish, French, German, Italian. We've actually added Arabic as well for our military community. We offer tutoring in business subjects, computer literacy, including some beginner programming, Java and C++. You can get assistance if you just need help with Word or Excel or PowerPoint. We offer assistance with test prep, nursing and allied health subjects, as well as our student success subjects, which I will cover a little more in just a moment as well. And let's want to figure out what exactly you can expect when you come to have a session with Tutor.com. So typically the wait time for a tutor is less than 60 seconds. Sometimes it's a little more, maybe about up to 2 minutes, just depending on the time of day and how busy the tutors are and what subject it is. So, but typically within a couple of minutes, you're going to be connected to your real life tutor. An average session length is typically about 20 to 30 minutes. Obviously, there are some that come on for some quick help and it takes about 5 minutes or so to answer a question, and then there are those more complex questions that are going to be a little bit longer, but typically you're going to expect to spend about 20 to 30 minutes with your tutor. The service is completely anonymous between the tutor and the student. There are no cameras in the classroom at all. We do have voice chat capability, but it is optional. So you can choose before you go into a session whether or not you want a tutor with voice chat capability. And then once you are in the session, you can also turn that off or on, depending on what you want to do when you're in there. We are what we like to call curriculum agnostic at Tutor.com. So we don't offer or tutor towards any particular curriculum. Students, we always recommend that students bring the work to the tutors, something to work on, a question, a worksheet, they can take a screenshot of something, they can upload a file, etc. At least have some sort of question that they can ask the tutor. And then we offer a kindergarten through 12th grade, as well as about a bachelor level of college support, especially with all of the core subjects. We do offer writing help at all skill levels. We have some amazing writing tutors that can help. For example, my husband actually used Tutor.com writing tutors to help with his master's, with his thesis, parts of his thesis, to help review those when he was working on his master's. Every tutor is going to be a real human being, so of course their styles and their pacing are going to be a little bit different. So students do have the ability to favorite tutors if they feel like they connect better with one tutor over the other. They can develop a list of favorite tutors in all the different subjects that they would like, and then they can request those tutors when they are working and available. Also, tutors do not give the answer to the student ever. That's not what they're there for. They are there to guide the student, and we say that our goal for every session is to bring the student to an academically sound conclusion. All right, I am actually going to skip over to the internet now. Make sure everyone can see that. All right, so we are on the Tutor.com/military site. So that's where you want to go, whether you want to create an account or whether you have an account and you want to sign in. So you would sign in up here in the right-hand corner. But if you want to create an account, you are actually just going to click on the button for your branch of service or DoD civilian. And then once you do that, you're going to come to a screen that shows who is eligible with that branch of service. So you can make sure that you are eligible. You'll select the little checkbox here that you're eligible. That's going to take you into the next screen where you're going to fill out some more information, first name only. We do not want to collect any of your personal information, so we don't want your last name. We do recommend that every student in your household have their own Tutor.com account. so that they can, favorite their tutors, their work is saved, etc. And so each student that creates an account, that will require a unique email address. So you put your email address in here, create a password. For the date of birth, the only reason we ask for the date of birth is because we have to abide by child online privacy laws, and we can't save any information for students under the age of 13. So they'll put their date of birth in here. Anyone under the age of 13, all of their information is immediately scrambled, so we can't see any of it. But we do not save the birth date for anybody. This is just a means of deciding whether you fall into that under 13 or over 13 category. And then you're going to select your component or your status, so whether you're active duty, whether you're reserve, a service academy cadet, etc. And once you select that, more boxes are going to open up here. You can let us know if you're in college, K-12, service member, spouse, etc. And then you are going to choose your location. So it is broken down by state and by country, and it is all alphabetical here. And for example, if let's say you are in one branch of service, but maybe you are stationed at a base that is not primarily your branch of service, there's an option to select other for your state or whatever. But if not, you can just select the location that is closest to you. And if you are selecting reserve, for example, reservists, all they have to do is just select their state or their country. Alrighty, so let's go on to the next screen. So once you have clicked create account and you create your account, you are going to get into your Tutor.com account here. This is your home page. You'll click work with a tutor now. That is going to take you to our pre-session questionnaire. This is where you can connect with a live tutor instantly. So you're simply going to select your topic, math, science, test prep, study skills, languages, etc. And then we'll leave it on math there. And then you go over here and you're going to drill down to the subject that you would like. So whether it's everything from elementary math all the way up through multivariable calculus, statistics, and all of that very fun math stuff. And then you'll come over here and select either a grade level or whether you're college intro or just an adult learner. And then at this point, you can decide whether or not you want to have a tutor with text chat only or text chat and voice. So you can make that decision here. And again, I remind you that once you get in the classroom, you do have the option to turn the voice on and off when you're in there as well. And then you do have to type something here in the question box. You can simply type in, I need help with quadratic equations, I need help preparing for a test, or you can literally type in a math equation that you need help with. You also have the opportunity here to upload a file. You can upload any format, so JPEG, a Word document, an Excel spreadsheet, a PowerPoint, etc., depending on what you need to work on. And then when you click this Connect Now button, that is when you are going to be connected in about 1 or 2 minutes to your real live tutor. And you're going to jump into a classroom that looks like this. This is just our practice classroom, so it doesn't have any of the voice chat buttons in here or anything, but it gives you an idea of how the classroom works. So you will text chat with your tutor, and then you can actually draw on the interactive whiteboard here. You can alter your colors if you'd like. You can bring in shapes and formulas and that type of thing into the classroom depending on what you're working on. You can change the background of the classroom. So if you are working on a math equation, that graph paper might be better for you, or you can change it to lines. Lots of different options here in the classroom to help you communicate with the tutor. If you run out of room on your whiteboard, you can add another one. We also have some tools. For example, we have a graphing calculator, so that's going to provide you with a keyboard that has lots of functions and buttons that you're not going to find on your regular keyboard. We have a code editor if you might be seeking assistance in one of those beginning programming languages that we offer in the military program. We also have a built-in text editor. It's basically like a built-in word processor where you can type and review writing assignments as well. However, if you share a file, you can actually, the tutor can bring that up in Word, for example, so that you can live edit it in that particular format. And then you also have the option to share a file again, as you did before you came into the classroom. You can share a file at this point as well. So let's go back to our regular whiteboard here. So that is pretty much the classroom here. And if you were to upload something, the tutor would bring that right up here on the screen and you can edit it together. So lots of fun tools that you can use in the classroom. So then I'm going to jump back into the Learning Suite now and show you a few more features. So in addition to connecting with the tutor instantly, you can also schedule a session in advance here. So you'll see right here when you click on this page, you'll see a bunch of tutors that are actually online now. So let's say you want to connect with Larissa R here, you can just click this Online Now button and it will direct you straight to her. She happens to be one of my favorite tutors. So anytime you have favorite tutors and they're online, they're actually going to show up at the top of this page as well. I will show you the favorite tutor page in just a moment, but so then you can also drill it down by subject, for example. So let's say I need help with algebra. I'm going to get a list of all of these great top-rated algebra tutors here, and I can schedule a session with them. If I want to find out a little bit more about them, I can click on their name here. And this is, bear with me, the internet's still waking up here. This is going to allow you to not only schedule a session with them, but you can actually come in here and peek at their education, the subjects that they tutor, why they like to tutor, just a quick bio about them, and then also you'll get to see some of their reviews. So some of the comments that students have left. This tutor has a very high rating. They've tutored more than 1,600 sessions with us and have 5 stars. So if you're interested in who the tutors are, you can come in here and look at those as well. So in addition to being able to schedule a tutor, we also have some practice quizzes available. These are available in some math, science, and English topics, as well as an ASVAB practice quiz. And you can come in here, you can select your topic, you can select the quiz, what subject under there. We've got a slew of algebra here, for example, that you can take. And then once you take the quiz will be graded, and then you can click Review. And you will be able to see all of the answers that you got wrong. And if you want to discuss one of the questions or the whole thing, actually, you can with the tutor. You simply click Discuss with the tutor. And that is going to come back to this pre-session questionnaire. It's going to automatically fill in the appropriate subject and topic for you. It's also going to provide a link to the quiz for the tutor. So the tutor will be able to see the quiz, see what you got wrong, etc. So all you have to do is put in your grade level, click Connect Now, and you get in with the correct tutor, and they'll be able to go over the quiz for you. So these practice quizzes can be helpful. They're going to start at about a middle school level and up through college, and you can use them, for example, maybe you're going back to college after a longer period of time, and you are unsure that you want to take that Algebra 2 class or that higher level math or science, and you want to hone up on your skills a little bit, or maybe you want to clip out of some of those subjects, or perhaps you're a middle school or high school student who is going into a harder math or science class or English class, and you want to just have some practice before you do that. So just bunch of different ways you can use them, as well as the ASVAB quizzes in there as well. So if you're going to take the ASVAB for the first time or the second time or whatever, you can go in there and use that. So some of the other tools that we have available, we have prep for the SAT, ACT, as well as for some grad level tests. These are just going to be like a self-paced online thing. This is not, these particular test prep items are not live tutors. So they're going to provide you with video skill drills, lessons, and then you can actually take timed practice tests as well from these things. You can take them in real time, you can do it in half time or double time, so it can help you prepare for your tests. And then as you're working on these test prep self-paced courses over here, you can actually come over here, for example, and say, you know what, I think I need help from a live person, so I'm going to select the SAT test prep, and I need help in the reading portion of the SAT. And then that is going to actually connect you with the live tutor to help you as well. So lots of great tools for test prep in here. And then under your account, you're going to find My Sessions. So we're going to click on that, and hopefully, there we go. So you can find your previous sessions up to 6 months in here. You will get to see whether or not your favorite tutors, if you had not favorited them after your session, this is another opportunity to do so here. You can replay the session like a little movie. You can view a transcript of your session. It's going to show you all of the text chat, as well as everything that you drew on the board and the attachments that you provided, etc. You can also, if you had a voice session, it will play the voice transcript out loud as well to you. You can email the transcript to yourself or a teacher or a parent. And you can also ask the same question again if you want to go over it again. Lots of different options here under My Sessions. And then under My Account, you also have My Favorite Tutors. So we'll go to my list of favorite tutors here. So you can see Larissa, who we did see in that other list. She is currently available right now. So if I wanted to request Larissa, I would simply click this green connect button, and then it would route me to Larissa for my session. And then these are my other favorite tutors here, and they are currently not online. But for example, Caroline here, she will be working this evening at from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern. So if I really want to work with Caroline, I can come back here during that time frame and catch her when she is available. You also have a locker. So anything that you upload, a paper or a PowerPoint or a JPEG, anything like that is going to end up in your locker. Anything the tutor works on with you, they will save up again to your locker after your session. So you will be able to find all of your stuff here in your locker for later. And then of course your account settings, etc. And then last but not least, we do have the option, if you don't want to work with a live tutor, if you're in a hurry or you just don't want to spend the time with the tutor to go over your paper, you can actually come in here and drop off a paper. It will be reviewed and then returned to you in less than 12 hours. You can select whether you want it to be an essay. You can also have a resume or a cover letter reviewed here. You just put in some information. Where are you in the writing process? Citation format, so they can make sure that you are citing your references correctly, excuse me. And then you can choose a file, you can upload it, and then I'm actually going to, at this point, I'm going to come over here and hop back into our PowerPoint because I'll show you a few more details about this drop-off of paper. So let's skip to the next slide. So again, this is your file sharing. This is the drop-off writing review. So once you click submit, another little box is going to pop up, and they are going to ask you for 2 different areas, specific areas that you might want to cover, might want to have the tutor focus on when they are reviewing your paper. So maybe you really want them to pay attention to your grammar or perhaps your sentence structure or that type of thing. And then once you put that in and drop it off, again, it will be back to you in less than 12 hours. You'll get the paper back reviewed, so there will be comments in the margin and they will highlight, etc. They're not going to ever make any changes on the paper itself. They're simply going to track the changes or track the suggestions. They're also going to give you a rubric that looks like this with feedback on your essay as well. So, and especially focusing on those areas that you had selected in that those checkboxes. And then we have also study skills coaching. I just wanted to touch on those briefly before we finish. So these are actually some new areas that we added last spring. So the study skills and life skills are for students themselves, and this is for students of all ages, kindergarten all the way through college. So if you want to get some advice from one of our study skills coaching tutors about study strategies, time management, motivation, stress management, any of that stuff, you can log on 24/7 and just chat with a tutor about any one of these areas, and they can help you figure out whatever it is that you are struggling with or that you might just want some tips or tricks on. And then these were so popular for the students that we actually also then added a section just for parents. So if you are a parent and you want to come on here and get some assistance helping your child with any of these, like studying or motivating your child, or perhaps finding balance when your child might be working on school from home and you are trying to work from home and all sorts of crazy stuff. So lots of options here to just get on, have a tutor, a subject matter expert, someone who knows all about these things to give you some advice when it comes to your studying and even your sort of lifestyle healthy things when it comes to your being in school and all that great stuff. So that is Tutor.com in a nutshell there. So if you have questions, you could put them in the question box. Cami is going to pop back in here and check our question box there. But if you think of something later or anytime you'd like to contact us, you can reach us at militarysupport@tutor.com. Again, the website where you get started is tutor.com/military. We also have a military Facebook page dedicated to our military community at Tutor.com, and that's Tutor.com for military at Facebook.com, of course. So, Cami, I will turn it over to you.
Thanks, Maureen. We have had a few questions just kind of clarifying what the eligibility is like, but that's why I answered those privately. If anybody has questions specifically about eligibility, you can type them in and I'll respond, or go to tutor.com/military and take a look at the table that Maureen had on the slide earlier. But we do have a question I was going to pose to the group for you to answer, Maureen. Someone wants to know if tutors will tutor in more than one subject. Can you stay online and tutor with them in more than one subject?
So the tutor may, and very many of them do, actually tutor in more than one subject, but when you are in a session, for example, for algebra, you can't just switch in the middle of that session, even if that tutor does happen to tutor a different subject. So you would have to actually end that session and then log in to, let's say, a geometry session or a science session or whatever other subject that tutor might tutor. Again, you can favorite the tutor, so you can go in and you can then request to have that same tutor again, but you do have to switch to a different subject to be able to do that. I hope that answers your question.
The person says, thank you. The next question is does the time available for tutors, I think on the scheduling a tutor, very likely adjust by your time zone?
Yeah, so on that scheduling a tutor page, Unfortunately, at this time, it does not. However, we are in the process of revamping our entire website and our user experience, and that is definitely at the top of our list to do, because I know it can be confusing when you are in a faraway time zone and you're trying to figure that out. It does say on the page, though, that it is in Eastern time. So whether or not a student catches that little piece of information or not, but yeah, so right now it does not, but we do have plans to make that happen so that it'll be a little bit clearer for our students.
Thank you, Maureen. The next question is there offline access to any of the things you talked about, like the quizzes?
Offline, I believe that you do have to be connected to the internet to take the quiz, because it is, you know, an interactive, like as you go, and then it grades it. So yeah, I think you do have to have internet connection. One thing I didn't mention, and we also do have a mobile app that you can use with Tutor.com. So if you're not at your laptop or whatever and you're on the go, you could use it that way. Unfortunately, you can't actually download the quizzes.
And our last question is just verifying that all the subjects are available 24/7, correct?
They are, yes. So it does not matter what time zone you are in. You should be able to get a tutor in your subject of choice anytime during the day.
And I don't see any more questions at this time. There might be a person or two still typing in the chat. For those of you that I haven't chatted with back and forth, we'd love to hear where you are. I'm actually in San Antonio, Texas. I don't know if I introduced my husband's stationed at Lackland Air Force Base, but he's an active duty Marine. So he's one of those special cases where Maureen said maybe you would be logging in and creating an account and saying other, because there's not a lot of Marines at Lackland Air Force Base. Oh, we have someone from Japan. We were in Okinawa, Japan prior to coming to Lackland in San Antonio, Texas. Welcome. And Maureen, did you want to share where you're from, or where you are currently, I guess?
I am currently, not where I'm from, right? But we're currently stationed at Offutt Air Force Base in lovely Nebraska. So a far cry from beautiful Japan. Oh, Naples, Italy. I love it.
So great to see our overseas participation. And
you guys make it worth getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning here in Nebraska, because I'm so glad that you could join us.
Definitely excited. And please spread the word for those of you that are here that live on a military base, or are an active duty service member, or have a spouse that's a service member, or maybe you're perhaps an influencer. We had invited some education services officers, school liaison officers, librarians, DoD teachers. If any of you fall into any of those categories, or even if you don't fall into those categories, if you are able to share with others, every Tuesday this month of April, we are having 4 sessions, 4 webinars, and we would be happy to present to anyone who is interested in learning more about Tutor.com. You can share our Facebook post, as Maureen had shared. It's on the last slide there. We have a Facebook page, and it has kind of a graphic showing, you know, the times and also where to go, the link to get registered. There's one more question, Maureen. Could someone who wants to join the military do a practice ASVAB on Tutor.com?
That's a tricky question. So technically you do have to be serving in some capacity, or an ROTC student, which they're past the point of taking the ASVAB at that point, I think. But yeah, technically you do have to be eligible to actually access the service to be able to take the practice quiz. Unfortunately, if you are in high school though, and your parent happens to be in the military, you could take it.
or DoD civilian. We have a lot.
Yeah, or DoD civilian as well. Yeah, I mean, I know that some schools that they do require the ASVAB. Well, I went to a DoD school and they required us to take the ASVAB, but of course my father was in the military, so I would have been eligible for Tutor.com had we had internet way back then. But yeah, so unfortunately, I think the answer is going to be no. However, I know you might be located overseas, but if you're in CONUS, we do have a ton of libraries across the country that offer Tutor.com for free. So it is possible that the student might be able to find access to Tutor.com that way as well.
Thanks for all of your questions and participation. We appreciate everybody being here. And if you have had all of your questions answered, you're welcome to exit. Or if you just like to stay on and hear what other questions may be asked, you're welcome to. But Maureen and I will hang out for probably another minute or two, and then we'll end this session, and a recording will be sent to you very likely tomorrow. You'll get that. It takes about 24 hours for the file to render and upload. And if you weren't able to download the attachments, we'll send those on to you. But we really just appreciate you being here. And we want to also recognize the month of the military child, one reason why we're doing this the whole month of April. So if you are a military child, have military children, we celebrate and appreciate their service.